What happens to a people when they lose the sound of their own names? What happens when children grow up fluent in English but mute in the language of their ancestors? Aminkere, Tarayo Ekondo Hensho, Efik by blood, multilingual by choice, and tired of watching us forget where we come from. This is not about perfection, it is about pride. And if you can learn French to pass WAEC, you can learn the language your ancestors sang lullabies in. My friend and I sat down to talk, not as experts, not as teachers, but as people tired of pretending that English is enough.
Very funny and impromptu shoot. But what has to be done has to be done. Hello. You already know. I'm your girl, Sarah Yowekondo Henshaw. And today is public holiday. Thank God for public holidays because it gifted me
Hi everyone.
Yeah, so this is a discussion that we're just joking and playing around and playing about it. Don't worry, with time it will make sense. And who best to discuss this topic with? For my bestie over here, Kakon. She's the expert. She has expert opinion here. This is our opinion, but you should take it. It's very important. Think about it.
Exactly.
So whenever you see this video, we would like to hear your opinions and would like to interact with you. So today's discussion, jokingly, we're just discussing about it, about the importance of having more than one language. Having a knowledge of more than one language, because I mean we're already in a Nigerian society that has more than one language. But surprisingly, in every household, the most dominant language there is English language. And it almost looks like every parent wants their child to have a command of the English language, but not a command of their own
Language.
native language. What do you think about that? What's your thoughts on that?
I feel like English being the second language in our multilingual setting, especially in Nigeria, we have taken it to heart that everybody in our household should speak the English language, whether or not they know how to speak their local languages, and that is not good enough. For a child, for a second language speaker, yeah, for someone to be able to speak the second language fluently, at least there should be a foreknowledge of the mother tongue. That's the L1. The second language is the L2. Your mother tongue or your first language is your L1. And that is very important to know as an individual because it's your language. I think our cultures are dying. Our ways of life are becoming archaic. Things are falling apart. So if there's anything to hold back on, should be our language. That's our identity. You even see parents naming their children very foreign names, forgetting the names of their ancestors.
Do you understand?
You hear different names, like you hear somebody bearing three
English names.
Why?
We're not going to call names, but if you hear somebody bear three English
We are
names,
not going to call
there is
names.
a particular ethnic group in Nigeria that is guilty of that.
Exactly.
And that is very sad.
Very
And
sad.
it looks like every solution to every problem in Nigeria, if you have small problem, you've not seen husband to marry, you went to meet your pastor, that's your native name that you're bearing, a name. It's a Mamet name.
Exactly. I hear that a lot.
There was a particular person in your lineage who was a worshipper of Mamet. So because of that, you have not seen husband to marry. However, when good thing happen to you, nobody
will not go
always,
back to God.
Nobody will even ascribe it to any of your ancestors.
Exactly, yeah. You won't go back to thank your family for giving you, or your parents for naming you that particular name that has brought you great fortune.
Thank you.
That's it.
It has not. They won't even like
attribute it at all to
the good
fact
genes
that
you're having. The fact that people in your generation, they don't die until they are 90.
exactly.
You will not remember
your village people and ancestors.
You will remember your village people. And then another aspect of language is the part that an adult, 30 years old, 25 years old, will tell you that the reason why they can't speak their language is because their mommy did not teach them.
Oga, anything will happen to you way past your 29 years and you see they blame your parents for it, my dear, you are a joke. At that point, I think you have failed woefully, especially in the aspects of this language. If you're unable to speak your language, maybe your parents did not teach you, maybe both parents do not come from one location, and then they tend to use English at home. And to a certain point of your life, I think you should be able to make some moves. If you do not make some moves, that means you're comfortable in your skin, you're comfortable at that point in time. So stop using your parents as excuses.
I mean, there is an extent in life in which you would blame your parents for certain things that have happened to you.
Absolutely.
That's to say, a fool at 40 is a fool forever. We're not saying you're a fool, but at 29, at 25, you can't speak your language because your daddy did not teach you. Really?
No, that's pathetic.
A lot of things that you know at this age. How many of them did your daddy teach you?
Exactly.
Tell us, which one did your daddy
saying it? So, I hope you're not mentioning something here.
Kakonga Bego.
No. Let's get back to the topic. We're actually talking about language. I mean, it is very important that children get to learn how to speak their languages. We are not saying the children shouldn't learn English, because English is is Nigeria's lingua franca. It's a language of communication. It's a language for foreign exchange.
Take it from Kakon, she's an educator.
Yes. So if they do not know how to speak English, of course you will know that. In fact, how would they even learn? I saw somebody's, is it attestation letter? Abi, how do they call this thing when person will leave the country? Is it this IELTS exam?
Yeah.
And then the guy did not sit for it. He said in the recommendation letter the university sent to the body, they wrote there that he has been learning English from his reception 1 down to the university. So there won't be any need of him sitting for IELTS. And I'm telling you, that letter was accepted across the country. I don't really know which country, but they accepted it because this person is of the consciousness that you have been learning English since time immemorial. Like when you go to school, that's the language of communication. So why should I have a special letter or a result to show that I can speak English? So what I'm saying is that you have already mastered English directly or indirectly as a student of Nigerian society. So why not get to learn about your language of identity, where you come from? It's very, very important. These are things that people undermine. These are now. Let me even address the parents. Nigerian parents, I think you should try better, because if you check the root cause, irrespective of the fact that we've said that, okay, we shouldn't call out anybody who are, yes, but then you should try better from the scratch. I know of, I actually taught somewhere where a child told me that it is a taboo to speak English in their house. Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
She said it's a taboo because their father would tell them, their typical Ejagan father. Yes, I'll mention that because it's my tribe and I'm so proud of it. He said, don't worry, when you get to school, you will speak English.
Okay.
But when you come to my house, please speak Ejagam. And it was so applaudable. I was so happy. I mean, hearing this from my students whom I teach English, telling me that the parents or the father prioritizes them speaking Ejagam at home. That's very beautiful. And that's how it's supposed to be. So you might not actually make English a coffee or you may not actually ban English per se. Okay, but let it be that
whatever
you prioritize.
Works for you.
Yes, you prioritize your local language. Yeah,
because it's always very important. Like I always say, if you just focus on speaking English, you don't know what you're limiting yourself against.
Exactly.
For example, when I started learning how to speak Efik language, I realized that there were so many channels of creativity that was open to me, that was able to explore. For somebody who loves story writing, storytelling, reading literature, and the rest of the thing. Growing up as a child, I grew up with the story of Snow White. I grew up with in fact, I grew up reading what a strawberry is. I knew about Jack and the Beanstalk. I never
What
really
happened to
knew our
Mutanda Yumnamondo?
folklores. If we stories are dying. It's almost as if any story that is not in English is not creative enough. It's almost we are too
Exactly.
lazy to even explore the creative depth of language.
Yeah,
It
that's
is
true.
it is it is really, really sad. So much that I look forward to seeing a strawberry. Most of the things I read in my English storybooks, they were not relatable. Here I am in Madonna
Fairy tale
Montessori
care in this
in
Nigeria.
Thank you. Some things some animals that I read about, I
And
don't
you
even
never.
see it. We're talking about Calabar. Maybe Christmas break that we are going. Before Christmas break, as you're coming out of Calabar Road, they are playing Ekpe. I have never read about Ekpe in any textbook.
Exactly.
I just finished reading about Cinderella and her wicked stepmother, and I'm stepping out on the street where there is Ekpe Ibibio pursuing me. What is? It's not relatable.
And this is a call to writers. In as much as you're trying to explore your creative abilities, okay, I think there should be even if you do not really know there are some lexicons that you cannot really translate, but you do a little transliteration on them.
Mhm.
Yes, you meet professionals, you rub minds, and then you come out with some lexicons in your language that can portray a particular thing you actually want to
Do
express.
Yes.
Amen.
There's some. It's like insulting somebody in English. That's how you insult somebody in English. It's not making sense until you translate it.
Exactly.
Until you translate it.
Exactly.
When you now say it in the
It
language,
makes sense, and
it gives you the sense of justice. Justice has been done.
exactly.
Justice has been done. So please, I'm not saying don't learn English. But learning English and just knowing English the way you knew it is no longer
No,
the
it's not a
flex
flex at all.
that
No,
you think it is.
it's not a flex.
Okay? Give language a chance. Anyway, we have a lot more to say, but we don't want to overwhelm you with information. Let this just be episode 1. So, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
As usual, I'm your host with the most, Tara Kondo. And I brought an expert in the person of Mace.
Kakong Moniti.
So, if you're following my page, look for El Taga, you'll see her. She has a lot more from where that came from. So, thank you for listening to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Until we come again next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Remember, language is power.